Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute, but I would like to welcome everybody to our event this evening and just share a couple quick Zoom etiquette reminders. So if everybody can just keep their microphones muted through the event, we're going to ask everybody to share your thoughts in the chat. If you have questions for Rhonda and Luke, or Donna or Mike or anybody else, share them through the chat. You can chat with everyone. You can chat with us directly. And if you have any tech needs, if you are having any issues, you can contact Catherine directly in the chat. If you'd like to turn on closed captions, look to the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You have two options depending on your version. There's a button labeled closed captions or a button labeled subtitles. And sometimes that lives under the three dots at the far end that say more. So take a look, see if you can turn those on if you'd like them. And again, if you have any issues or need to get any help, just contact Catherine in the chat. And with that, it's just after 6, and I think we'll get started if Mike would like to join us.
Hey there. All right, we're ready to go, Kyla? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It's great to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time to join us on this rainy Wednesday night. We're really grateful to have a chance to visit with you. You are all folks that are supporters of PROVAIL. So this is an opportunity for us to say thank you. We appreciate your support. I wish that we could be doing this in person and thanking you in person, but even virtually, I want you to know how grateful we are for your support. And we hope that you get a sense tonight of what the impact is that you're having on PROVAIL. So that's a part of why we're here, to say thank you and to make sure that you get a chance to see the importance of the support that you provide on the work that PROVAIL does every day for children and adults with disabilities. So since you're folks who are largely familiar with PROVAIL and have supported us and our plans for growth, I thought I would start by giving you some updates on our growth. So we've got 3 program areas. I think you probably know that. First, in our mobility and communication clinic, the most exciting thing to report is that we've seen a lot of growth in the last year in our speech therapy team, and we're expanding our assistive technology work as well. Some of you know that our goal has been to expand our school-based assistive technology consultation model, and we now have 6 full-time speech therapists, 3 assistive technology specialists, so that expansion is definitely happening. Telehealth has continued to be a really invaluable tool. You might know that that really became the primary way that we were interacting with our clients starting at the very beginning of the pandemic. We made really a very quick and effective switch. Our team did a fantastic job of switching over from in-person services to telehealth or remote services. And it's been great. In fact, some of our clients have done better through remote therapy sessions than they did when they were in person. And that tool continues to be available, and we hope it'll continue to be available permanently. But we are starting to see some clients return to in-person services, which is really exciting. It's great to get a chance to see folks in the clinic again. So I'm happy about that. In our employment program, our supported employment program, COVID had a huge impact on people's employment status. Many folks fairly quickly in March and April of 2020 lost the opportunity to go to their jobs. And in some cases, those jobs went away permanently. But we're now having a ton of success in getting people back to work. In the last year, we've developed 85 new jobs for our participants. And we're back up to the point now where about 76% of our clients are currently working. We serve between 500 and 600 individuals in our supported employment program in King and Snohomish counties. And we like to be in that 75 to 80% range of that group of folks who are currently employed. So we're right up back where we want to be. We had dropped down well below 60% for a while. So nice to get back up to that level. And I'll talk more about kind of what's coming next for employment a little later. In our home and lifestyle program, so our community living program for folks with developmental disabilities, and Brain Space, our assisted living facility for traumatic brain injury survivors. The biggest news in home and lifestyle is the development of a new program. We're launching a home care service, which is going to create a wide range of individualized, independent living and community support options, particularly for young adults with developmental disabilities who have come through our transition program in employment. They've transitioned out of the school system, they're in a paid job in the community, and they now want to take the next step in inclusion by having an opportunity to live independently or be more active independently in the community, but they need some specialized supports to help make that happen. And we're going to be creating that program to make that happen. So that is particularly exciting. So growth is underway. The pandemic definitely slowed the growth progress initially, but we're back into growth mode. I've talked about how the pandemic, we kind of pushed the pause button on growth, but we've pushed the play button again, and we're moving forward. So in addition to growth, the other big topic this year is that it's our 80th anniversary. And I think before I talk more about that, I think we should just take a note to think about that. And we should all be really proud, not just me and the staff at PROVAIL, all of you, anybody that's a part of the PROVAIL family that has supported the organization. We should all be really proud of getting to 80 years. That is a huge accomplishment. And I think we should also be proud of our history as one of the first disability support organizations founded in Washington State. And I've shared the story before with some folks that our work started in 1942 in a small classroom on Warren Avenue in Seattle, where Seattle Center is now located. We were founded, that program, that classroom and the services that started there, while the classroom was provided by the Seattle School District, the services and the organization that grew from that was founded by a group of parents who all had children with cerebral palsy, who had all made a decision to keep their kids at home rather than send them to live in a state institution, which was the norm at the time. Those parents were driven by the value of inclusion. Like any parent, they wanted to be included in their children's lives as those children grew, and they wanted their children to be included, seen, heard, and welcomed in the community. This was a small group of parents, less than a dozen, but they committed themselves to building and growing an organization that would grow with their children. And they started with that classroom, but they then built a vocational program to help their children pursue employment as they became adults. And then they created a residential program to give them an opportunity to move out of the family home and connect with their peers and engage in the rest of the community. And eventually we added therapies and assistive technology to the mix to provide critical opportunities related to mobility and communication for many people. One thing throughout all that time that has made PROVAIL unique is that we are a lifelong support for individuals and their families, beginning with a focus on mobility and communication for school-age children, bringing the power of assistive technology into the classroom to ensure that children get a chance to learn and engage right alongside their peers, and then moving to employment as they get ready to transition out of high school, and then beginning to look to residential supports as they enter adulthood. So we are positioned to provide a wraparound set of services and be a lifelong supporter for individuals and their families. And that is an aspect of PROVAIL that has developed over that 80-year history and really makes us unique in the area. As we think back over that 80-year history and reflect on where we are today, I think one thing's really clear, that we are an organization that is driven by our values related to inclusion and a critical belief that kind of underpins everything we do. And that is that every person can and should have the right to choose for themselves what their life should be like. We support individuals with disabilities to identify what their goals are, think about how what they want their life to look like, and then we put our support services to work to help them pursue those goals. I think that is not only a fantastic history to be proud of, it's an amazing and noble mission to be equally proud of. And again, thank you to all of you for being a part of making that happen. So as we think past our 80th year to the future and think about what's next for PROVAIL, we're definitely going to be continuing growth. We're going to be serving more children and adults in more places, creating more pathways to inclusion. I already mentioned the new home care program. We expect to see tons of growth in that area in the next couple of years. We're also working to serve more individuals in our supported employment program. And in particular, we are prioritizing expansion of that program into South King County. And from there, we'll have opportunities to think about expanding further into Pierce County and other parts of the state. And I mentioned the growing team in our clinic, which is allowing us to make plans to serve more schools districts, and we're already reaching out into Eastern Washington with some of those services. So stay tuned in the coming year. There'll be more information about the impact that growth is having on communities all over. So let's shift gears a bit now and talk about some folks that you're going to get a chance to meet here in a minute. Luke Buckley and his mom, Rhonda. This is just one of the families that have the opportunity to experience the services, the innovative and customized and personalized services that PROVAIL provides. We're able to reach young adults, young people like Luke, thanks to your generosity and the support of the community and our amazing team of professionals in our mobility and communication clinic. Now, some of you, when you get a chance to see this video in a minute, are going to remember that you may have met Luke before, because we had a chance to connect with Luke and Rhonda and Bruce Buckley back in 2015. So before we jump to kind of where Luke is today in his life, we wanted to show you a little bit of video from that last time that we connected with Luke a number of years ago. So I think we're going to roll a short video for you right now. All right, so hopefully that looks familiar to some of you. Great to see that. I remember that, being a part of putting that video together and getting a chance to interact with the Buckley family. Last week, I had a chance to catch up with Rhonda and Luke again. Actually, the first time I had seen them in quite some time, since we've not been seeing folks in person in the clinic. And we had a chance to talk about what's been going on in Luke's life since 2015 and what the future looks like. And we recorded that conversation. So we're going to play that for you now. And then afterwards, we're going to have Luke and Rhonda and Donna, one of our speech therapists, join us for a question and answer session. So as you're watching the conversation that I had with Luke and Rhonda, think of questions that you might want to ask them when we come back live. And you can share those questions in the chat. And we will answer as many of those as possible before we wrap for this evening. So with that, we'll turn it over to the video of that conversation.
Okay, Luke and Rhonda, it's great to see you guys again. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. Luke, you have gotten so much bigger and more mature than the last time that I saw you. It has been a long time since we've seen each other in the clinic, and I miss getting a chance to see you. So I'm looking forward to those days starting up again. While you've gotten older and more mature, I've just gotten more gray. So we've definitely changed, but not in the same ways. So I have some questions that I'm going to ask you, but we just got done watching a video that might have been kind of fun for you to watch too, from I think about 10 years ago, when you were a much littler guy. And a lot has changed in your life since then. And I think that you have some things about what's changed that you wanted to share with us. What kind of things have changed?
Life has changed for me because I've learned to use email, Facebook, and Alexa to connect with people and control my environment through my Toby.
That's a big change. That's a huge change. So you really have a much different ability to communicate with people in your life than you used to.
Can I share something about that?
I have really liked being on the high school football and baseball team. The guys on the team have learned how to include me.
Did you want to add something, Rhonda?
Well, I wanted to say, during the pandemic, how PROVAIL's been able to do, the Zoom in meetings at home. Luke's communication and his electronics just took off with just amazing speed the last 2 years. I mean, he's controlling his environment with Alexa. He's emailing people, calling people. He'll do something on the television. He'll have somebody that he's calling on Alexa, and he's using his device at the same time.
Wow.
And, to walk in as a parent and see that when he wasn't, that wasn't something that was accessible to him before, it just shows so much independence.
I want to show. Tell me to do
so
something.
it's been really cool.
That is cool. That's really exciting.
Tell my news. I want to tell you something.
Okay, let's hear it.
I love going to spring training.
Yeah. I know that you are a huge sports fan.
Yeah, we actually just got back from Hawaii, where Luke got to go to 2 U of W baseball games.
Nice. That's fantastic.
Or U of H, sorry.
U of H, yeah.
That's game this weekend.
All right. I've been to the U of H baseball stadium. That's a fun place to watch baseball. Yeah.
I got a new power wheelchair. I really want to be able to drive myself around.
I bet you do. Yeah, that would be an important next step, and that sounds like a pretty big journey of independence.
Tracking game. I loved the opening light show. It was great that no one had allowed cowbells like the Silver Tips hockey games.
Yeah,
Very good.
Luke's become a pretty big Kraken fan. He's been to a couple games and listens to him on the radio through his device. That's the other thing that's really cool is he'll have a game that he's watching on TV, and Gabe's programmed his communication device with radio stations so he can listen to different stations.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to have a multimedia experience going. Excellent. So we heard about Mariners spring training and the Kraken. I know that you're also a big Aqua Sox fan. Do you want to share with us about going to the Aqua Sox games?
Are you going to go on your device? You want me to help you, bud? So Luke has been a season.
I can't wait United will get to hang out with Coach Rick at the Aqua Sox games. We both have season tickets.
There we go. Good job.
Yeah.
Just when mom was going to step in, you let her know that you had it ready to go.
That's right.
Good job. Anything else about hobbies that you want to share with us?
Do you have anything else about hobbies you want to share?
No? Okay. What about school? How are things going at school?
Hey, Donna, there's something I need you to do.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
Questions.
Let's go over here to your interview questions. And then here's your school question here. So Luke is in high school now.
Yes.
I really like being on the high school football and baseball team. The guys on the team have learned how to include me.
Yeah, there's been a lot of inclusion on all these different fields that Luke's been on: football, baseball, all the adults wondering how they're going to make it happen. And then Luke and his teammates just create it. And it's just been beautiful.
That's great.
No. Do you want to say something about football? Baseball. That you're on the Jackson Timberwolves baseball team? Yeah.
That's great. I would love to get a chance to see one of those games or see a picture of you in uniform at the games.
Do you like wearing uniforms? Yeah.
Yeah. As long as I've known you, I think I've only ever seen you in some type of a uniform. Either the Seahawks or the Mariners. I've not yet seen a Kraken uniform.
You want me to tell
sometime soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Luke wants to know that his closet is full of, yeah, it's basically everything that's in there is all sports.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Something more
So-
to say?
What about after high school? I know you've got some goals about what you'd like to do after high school.
Do you want to be more independent? Do you want me to help you with that, or do you want me to help you talk about that? Okay. So Luke has talked a lot about wanting to live on his own someday, and maybe get married. He really likes the idea of sharing his life with a partner, and actually has told Bruce and I that we have to move out of our current house, and him and his wife are going to keep our house, and we can't take anything. So everything has to stay. Luke's shown some interest, obviously, in sports. And so trying to find areas that he might be interested in that he can contribute. He's really interested in sports announcing. He's really interested in like rallying up the team and all the people that come to the games, and he really loves the mascots. I could even see him being a mascot someday. What do you think? Did I hit it? Was that good? Yeah? Okay.
All right. Okay, well, this has been great. Thank you for sharing about what's going on in your life, Luke, and what your goals are. Is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap it up?
You have more to share? Yeah.
I want to show. Tell her to do something. Tell my news. My friend Carolyn lives in Kentucky and has a big farm. She has 4 kids and loves to homeschool. I miss her.
So that was really great that you told Mike about Carrie Lynn, because Carrie Lynn was a caregiver that moved away a few years ago, and they kind of lost contact. Like occasionally we would talk to her on the phone, but with Luke's love for email, he's now emailing her and they're staying in contact, and he's got all the juicy information that's updated, and yeah.
Oh,
so
great.
He's really staying connected to people through his communication now. So it's really, it's great to see him doing those things independently.
That is great to hear.
Show. Tell her to do something.
Where to save up? Yeah. You getting there?
Tell my news. I want to tell you something. I had my spine surgery and now I'm taller than my mom.
Watch it, buddy. This video is not going to play forever.
I think that was very important news to share.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm glad the surgery went well, and I'm glad you get to be taller than mom for a little while. That's good. Yeah, nice job. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and call it a wrap there, but thank you very much, Luke. I really appreciate you taking time at the end of a long day to let us know what's going on in your life and share with us. And it's so cool to see how the communication has really moved forward for you. I'm happy for you and your family. So good job, and thank you very much. And thanks, Rhonda. Appreciate your help, and it's great to see you guys again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, you guys.
All right. Well, that was great. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Got a chance to see and learn a lot about Luke. So now I want to invite Luke and Rhonda and Donna to turn your cameras and your mics on and join me on the screen. Hi. Hey, everybody. All right.
Hey.
And there's the Kraken jersey that I wanted to see. Nice. Thank you, Luke. Awesome. I love to see that. All right. So now would be the chance. If you haven't already shared a question with us, we'd love to have you share questions. Anything in particular that you might like to ask Luke or Rhonda or Donna. And while you're thinking of that, I'm watching the chat. Okay, so here we got one question up. So the first question from Jessica. Donna, Jessica wants to know, how long have you been working with Luke, and how have things changed over the years from your perspective?
Holy moly, how long has it been? When did I start working with you?
I think Luke was like, actually it was right at the time that we did the gala. So 2015.
Yeah. Oh my God, things have changed so much for this man. I remember though, do you remember, Rhonda? We had this talk, really hard talk at Third Place Books. And I said to you, I said, look it, I can work with Luke all you want, but unless he uses his device all the time at home, it's not going to take off. And what did you do?
Started using his device at home all the time.
And do you remember the story you told me about that you were in the laundry room? Do you remember what he said?
No, remind me.
He was in the other room. You came to me and you were like tearful and you said, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell you this. I was doing laundry and Luke was in the other room, and all of a sudden I hear, Mom, I love you. Oh. And you said to me that was the first time Luke ever told you that.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing. Yeah, Luke, man, he is a big pain in my you know what. He's so independent. I can have an agenda to work with him, and he's got a whole nother agenda. You heard him say, Donna, I have something for you to do. Yeah, he always has something for me to do. So it doesn't matter what I come to the session, doesn't matter what I write as my goals, Luke has something for me to do, to fix, to show me, to tell me. Yep, every single time. But I have to say though, Luke, initiative and his persistence and getting his, what he wants and showing who he is to so many people has just been a huge step forward. It's been really fun. It's been fun knowing where our technology is limited and how we need to expand. I mean, this guy has 3 communication programs that he's working through. Okay, you can't say that for a lot of people, but he's got 3 and he uses them for different things. And yep, Luke is really good at directing what he wants in his life, and that's a huge step.
Well, and I'd like to just add, Donna, that I think that he's been able to direct his life because when we lived in a different area and the services were pretty limited. So whenever we would go into places, nobody really knew what to do. And PROVAIL was the first place that, when we walked in and they were like, oh yeah, look at this, look at that. I was like, oh my gosh, they get it. They know way more than I do. This is going to be great. And so I think, PROVAIL is just really, all of you have just helped Luke communicate to the world who he is. And, just even in the schools and stuff, he's done so much for inclusion for people to see him and hear him through his device and know all that he does, that it's possible. So I think that his independence and his ability has just really, we owe it all to you guys, even helping us to know what to do, turn the device on all the time.
Yep.
So,
I love it. Sorry, I was going to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Luke will be in our session, and I'll ask something, and Rhonda's not there. She's at work.
Family Fun Center.
Oh, sorry, Luke. I missed what you said.
You want Donna to finish? He wants you to finish.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that, talk about multiple use of technology. Luke will be in a session with me over telehealth where we're doing a Zoom session. And in the middle of the session, I'll ask something and he'll know that his mom knows the answer to it.
People.
And so he'll call his mom with his device
People.
in the middle of the session. So that's multiple use of technology across mediums. It's fantastic.
I think when you were saying that too, Donna, one of the really cool things, on top of Luke being able to tell us how he feels and telling us his ideas,
yes,
what he's thinking about. That was such a huge thing when he was little.
Media.
I had no idea what his thoughts were. I had no idea how his brain worked until we came to PROVAIL. And it's great. And, the other thing that's so cool is that Luke and I will be talking about something or, even with Dad or a teacher, and we'll say, Luke really wants to do this.
Monday I'm free.
And
Tuesday I work with Gabe. Wednesday is video game club. Thursday I work out with Danny and Hunter. Friday I work with Donna. I will also get baseball in once the season starts.
So true. You are a busy guy. But I was just, I think I was going to finish my thought and just say that new ideas used to scare me. I would say, I have no idea how we're going to do that. I don't think that that's possible. I wish that it were possible. But with Gabe and with Donna and Julia at PROVAIL, those things, they go, well, wait, let's try to figure it out. And it's yeah, it gets you kind of excited and makes you realize that it might look a little different the way we do things, but we figure it out.
Like with socks.
Okay, we have a couple more questions that I want to share with you guys. So Anat wanted to know, what gaming does Luke like to access with his Toby?
What gaming? So Luke uses a Switch. He uses an Xbox. He used to have, what's the black one? I can't remember. Well, I'm not the gamer, obviously. It's Gabe and it's Dad. But he uses an Xbox controller in his Switches to access games. And Gabe is he's the best. You go to Gabe's game room and like I said, he's going to figure it out and show Luke a way to play the games. But yeah, he uses almost every game system.
Places.
Nice. Is there a favorite game?
Describe.
Do you have a favorite right now, Ben?
Groups.
Is it the MLB? Football?
Calculator.
I think it's the NFL
I need
football
help.
game.
Okay.
People.
All right. And Tina has a question for Rhonda. Can you speak to the impact to the family overall with Luke's new communication abilities? And then there's also a question for Luke, which is, are you in any groups on Facebook? If so, what's your favorite? So Luke can go first, and then we'll have Rhonda share about family impact.
You want me to partner assist with you? Okay. So Luke's asking me to partner assist communication with him. So I'm just going to ask him some questions. He sticks his tongue out for yes, and he does a head tilt for no. So do you like Facebook? That's a stupid question, huh? So Luke is on Facebook and just recently was allowed to start using Facebook at school during free time. He's actually going to Facebook right now. Do you have a Facebook group, or do you just like to kind of touch base with your friends? Yeah. Is there any groups that you're interested in yet, or do you know about groups? Yeah, you know about groups. So Gabe again is and Donna are working with Luke on coming up with ways to make a program that's not specifically made for this, but they've found, like I said, ways to figure out how to configure stuff so that Luke can access and make comments on people's Facebooks, which has been really interesting. You want to tell them something about it? Yeah.
Second
You
round.
learn a lot about it. You like it.
Home/feed.
You want more stuff? You want Donna to fix more stuff for your Facebook? Is that what you're
First
saying?
row.
So then Rhonda,
Okay,
the other
he might
other
be
part.
right now.
Oh, okay. So the other part of that question, Rhonda, for you was, can you speak to the impact to the family overall with Luke's new communication abilities?
Gosh, just basic stuff like we couldn't really leave him alone in his room or in another room in the house before because we didn't know when he was going to need anything. And then as he got a little bit older, he started screaming for everything. So that was really difficult for everybody. Not knowing what Luke needed and Luke getting frustrated because, he didn't have a way to let us know what was wrong. So now he definitely lets us know everything, what he wants, if he's hungry, if he's thirsty. I mean, you wouldn't, think about that basic need, but it was amazing when we first started using his device all the time. He was hungry all the time. And we weren't feeding him as much as he wanted to be fed, I guess. And so basic needs started getting met. And just, sharing stories and laughing together and creating memories through communication. So it's been really good for all of us. It's been really helpful.
Okay, friends. It's Saturday night in May 1987. And what are
He's
you doing?
Facebooking.
We're hearing all about Facebook posts. That's all right. That's good. So what I'm curious about, Rhonda and Donna, and maybe Luke has a thought about it as well. So Rhonda, you shared that just in the last 2 years during the pandemic in particular, that I think your word was that his communication skills have just exploded or something to that effect. So what do you guys attribute that to? What is it that has made the difference, do you think?
Well, I think from our standpoint, Luke didn't really, have, because we were home all the time, no school, no friends, no social stuff going on. And he became really focused on his device. And then having his therapist, come through on his device during the Zoom meetings and actually showing him and moving things around, and he could actually see what they were changing and how they were changing it. I think he just bought into that. And then he started calling them all the time. And I'm like, Luke, it's not time for your Zoom meeting. Who are you trying to Zoom with? And Donna sometimes would come on and go, Luke, it's not our session. And he's like, but I need you to do something, so, and then the availability too, like Luke just had this massive back surgery not too long ago. He would have never been able to get in the van and go to the clinic, but we didn't have to miss appointments because, the telehealth visits were coming to us. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. Yeah, so I mean, what's really cool about telehealth that's so different than in person is that Luke gets to pick how he wants to be comfortable during a session. You know, I remember the days Luke would travel to the clinic and be so uncomfortable and be in so much pain. And it's like there really wasn't a ton of options other than his chair on the floor. Really, he didn't have his specific places that he liked to be more comfortable. But at his home, there were days when he was in his recliner, or he could be in his bed. I have other clients who are in their bed when I'm doing therapy with them. He can be in his chair. And the other piece of this is that who's ever with him, I get to train them. So I'm not dependent on just one person learning his system. I get to train family, his caregivers, whoever is there to help support him and get him set up. But I think the main thing what Rhonda hit upon is that I don't have to take his device away to program it. I can do it remotely. He can watch me. He can be part of it. He learns a lot while I'm doing it. And like Rhonda said, Luke has control of getting onto Zoom or contacting us, and he can do it all by himself without anybody's help, which that was never happening before. So that was really cool. And calling his mom right then and there, he could just do that. The other thing is that he would have he has one caregiver that also worked with him at school, and so that was kind of cool that we could do this, talk about what he needed at school and what he needed at home, so we could get all those environments taken care of. So yeah, but not missing. We also started off with more frequent visits, and then school started again, and we reduced that. I think having more frequent visits, where cancellation is less because the person's at home and isn't able to go out, also made a difference.
Excellent. Luke, anything you want to add?
Do you want to say anything more? Yeah. Is it about you? Is it about PROVAIL? Is it about sports? Yeah. You want to tell Mike you wear your Kraken shirt for him? No? Anything else? Are you going to tell us? So he's trying to get back to Communicator because he was on Facebook when you mentioned Facebook.
Ah, got it.
It's loading right now. Like Donna said, he has 3 different programs that he goes to and does different things in. So
Luke,
there you go.
Jessica wants to know if you're following March Madness. You a college basketball fan? Yeah.
College basketball fan.
Are you a Gonzaga fan?
No.
No. Oh. Okay. Well, we'll have to hear about that later. Oh, the question was actually not from Jessica. It was from her husband, Lucas, who's I believe is a Kansas fan. I'm not sure where Kansas is in the tournament. So you don't have to say that you're a Kansas fan either. That's okay. I did see that you have your baseball mitt on again tonight, and I'm guessing maybe that special baseball is still in there. You want to tell us about that?
You want me to tell them about the ball? So we just recently got back from Hawaii, and we went to that couple of college baseball games while we were there. And somebody came up and started talking to Luke, and pretty soon he came back and he had a baseball from the coach and the team that was signed for Luke. So he's got it tucked away. You want to show him?
I'm gonna do something.
You want me to pull? Okay. He's
There
got
it
it
is.
stuck in here.
Nice.
Just kind of fits in there and stays in there. And the ball changes every once in a while.
Okay.
Tell my news. I want to tell you something.
All right.
My birthday is March 7th. I will be 17.
Yeah, you just turned 17.
17.
Sierra and I broke up.
Okay. You do not have to share any more about that if you don't want to, but that's totally up to you.
I went to Hawaii with my family. The best part was going to the Hawaii University baseball games.
There we go.
Let's see if I can show you his device. This is his device that he's looking at.
Oh, that's great. I was going to ask you if we could
I
share a
went to
little bit
Hawaii
more.
with my family. The best part was going to the Hawaii University baseball games.
And then
So-
his switch is here.
Right. Donna, can you talk a little bit more about the technology, particularly about how you were able to remote into the device?
I'm going to be a sophomore at Jackson High School. I live very close to my school. Our mascot is a timber wolf.
I can get a word in edgewise, you
Yeah.
know. You know what? This is like my dream, though. I tell you what. So yeah, what basically we do is there's a process we go through. We get a person a new device. They have to have it unlocked. And for people who don't know about this, insurance won't pay for a device that's open, which is really stupid. Just, you know, in terms of advocacy, because everybody needs to be able to communicate through multiple means. So what happens is you get it unlocked, and then I had Rhonda download TeamViewer, which is a way for me to have remote access.
Really.
And so she downloads it on, and then I have it as well. And so usually the procedure for going through our sessions is Luke gets onto Zoom. I get onto TeamViewer. Both has to be working. And then I have remote access. I always tell him, hey, I'm on your device right now. And then he has Zoom. And so we usually have a little picture of Zoom. And so I'm actually on his communicator boards, hanging in there, you know. And then he can watch what I do. I can get to his desktop. I can do whatever I want. A lot of times we do things like backing up his device. The other thing is Rhonda sometimes will send me photos that she wants me to put on his device. So I'll have them sent to my email. I'll save the photos. I'll put them in a file. I'll copy them, viewer in, get onto his device, paste them in the files, and then add them to his system. So that's kind of how it goes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and the Toby, for folks who aren't familiar with the Toby is, I mean, in a nutshell, what is it?
Okay, so they're all different device companies. Toby Dynavox is one device company, and that's the one that Luke was using and met his needs best. But this type of approach of Zoom and TeamViewer and all works with all the devices. There's all different device companies, and although it doesn't, if a person just has an iPad, an iOS system, it's a little bit trickier doing this. You can't really remote in, but you can do share screen. But yeah, there's Toby Dynavox is the actual company.
Mom, can you help me by being?
And it's essentially a programmable touchscreen, Windows-based.
Yeah. So the thing that people need to know is that people who get communication devices, they're typically tablets, computers, tablets, and then those devices themselves come with hardware that enables them to do switch access or has software programs that allow for eye gaze control. And then software programs, which I call language organizational programs, like he has Communicators 1, TD Snap is another, Grid 3 is another. Those are self-contained software programs that enable Luke to have access to environmental stuff and access to language organizational systems.
Great. Okay. Thank you. I just think it's important that we give folks a little bit of a sense of what the technology is and how it works. So that was great.
If I could just add with the Toby Dynavox, it also has environmental controls. So Luke can turn the lights off in his room. He can change the channels on his TV with it. Once we have Gabe program all that in,
Nice.
you know, it's in there. So yeah, and you know, as parents, we're really juggling so many different things, and you know, it's so great to have a team of people who come alongside us that know about this and who spend so much time and put so much effort into Luke's communication and all the other people at PROVAIL. It just, there's no way that I could learn all of this and do it like Donna and Gabe and Julia do, you know? So it's just so helpful.
I was going to add one other thing, Mike, that was.
And then we're going to give Luke the last word. So
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I just want people to know that the other benefit of telehealth is that I can have tech support. I can have the rep there. I can have someone come in from school. You can have so many more people be involved in the session. And we did a lot of coordination with the rep for Toby to get things working when he got his new device. And that was really, we couldn't have done that all in person. So this was a whole new thing for me. It was so much more efficient than I've ever experienced before. So,
That's
and
great.
that is it.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time. So Luke, we're gonna give you the last word before I say goodnight to everybody. Anything else that you wanna, any comments you wanna leave us with, or anything you wanna share before you go?
I really want to say thank you to the team at PROVAIL for helping me learn the technology to express who I am to the world.
That is a great spot to end it. You have said that multiple times in our work on putting this together. I'm glad you got a chance to say that here at the end, and just put an exclamation point on that. Your team of Donna and Gabe and Julia and the rest of the folks in the clinic are pretty important to letting you make the choices that you want to make about your life. So great that you get a chance to say thank you. And thank you, Luke and Rhonda and Donna, for being a part of this and sharing everything with the folks that are with us tonight. So really appreciate it. Great to see you guys. Thanks very much. We'll let you guys go ahead and drop off the camera, and we'll just wrap it up by saying thank you to everybody else for joining us tonight. It's great to have you. Thanks for continuing to be a part of the PROVAIL family. Whoop, my lights are turning off. Somebody wants me to go home. I hope that you got a chance to learn something new tonight. I hope you got a chance to get some additional insights into how important the work that PROVAIL does is in the lives of individuals like Luke and his family, and that you got a chance to see how important your support for PROVAIL is. The work that we do, particularly in our mobility and communication clinic, is not typically funded at a level that covers all the costs. So if it weren't for community supports, we would not be able to provide as many services as we do. Even in places where we do have funding available, it typically doesn't cover the full cost, and it's not enough to provide the services. It's not enough to grow the services to serve everybody that needs them. So we are constantly facing lots of unmet needs. Your support for PROVAIL is really critical to continuing the growth that is really important to us. So again, thank you. We're really grateful. So a couple other notes for you to know about things that are coming up in case you don't already have them on your calendar. We are celebrating the return of our golf tournament after 2 years. It's one of our important fundraising activities. On May 23rd, we're going to be getting together out at a new course this year, Redmond Ridge, and working to raise funds for our programs, particularly on mobility and communication clinic. And then in the fall, September 30th, we are planning to be back in person with our gala fundraiser and auction, and hope to see you at both of those events and at some other point. If you get a chance to stop by and visit PROVAIL, we'd love to see you in person. Let us know if you have questions or there's more information that you'd like to know. You can definitely find more information on our website at provail.org. And Jessica has put a link to the Golf Classic part of the webpage up in the chat, so you can click on that to find out more about golf. With that, I think I will just say thank you again for your continued support, and hope you have a great night. Thanks. Take care.